Good morning, everybody. So today, as I get everything situated, close this down a little bit. There we go. So today I wanted to show off the terrain we did a couple weeks ago. Sorry, it's been a while. I've been actually waiting for something to come in, but I wanted to show off the terrain from that mystery box that I got. Starting off, if y'all watched, you remember I was talking about one of them that had a pretty big hole in the middle of it. Like I said, I used my spur glue to fill it in. And all spur glue is Tamara extra thin paint, cement mixer, or thin cement. And then you put some the piece from your sprue in there. Hello, Michael. And that makes it a little thicker, so you can do things like that where you coat it up and fill in holes. So that was the one that had that really big hole in the top. As you can see, now it doesn't. The other thing I wanted to show off is how it looked when it was painted all up. As you can see, it's pretty good. I primed it up all white, painted it up with generic apple barrel paint, which I'm going to do this one as well. Then I painted it with the pewter gray, and then dry brushed it with this granite gray. So, just wanted to show off a couple of pieces. We got another one of the rocks. I did a lot of the rocks. I'm probably going to mess with the buildings and the logs here in a little bit. I'm thinking I want to try and find something to make the logs into actual trees. But I mean, I think for 40, I think it was $40 for that. And I haven't even paid half of what came in already. I think they're well worth it. Alright. So, like I said, in this one you don't want to use a wet palette, you want to use dry palette. Because, you know, you're going to be dry brushing, so kind of don't make sense to make it wet and then dry. Count on how long it goes. I might try and paint up these crystals too. I am sitting there just in case, but I don't think we're going to get to those today. Because like I did say, I do have a plan for the rest of the day. Let me move this over a little bit so y'all can see the palette. Like I said, you just go in with the gray, the darker color. And we're just going to brush it across the whole thing. Make sure we get good coverage. Not looking for anything spectacular, just make sure the white turns gray. Base coating it. And then we gotta let this dry after that, and that's where the other mystery box will come in here and give this stuff time to dry a little bit. The other one I end up doing from Warpfire Minis, and I'll show off the box again as soon as I get done getting this first coat on here. But we chose basically every army that me and my family play. So Chaos, Death Guard, Necrons, and Drukhari. Put them in there, you pay them $25, they send you a mystery box worth at least $40, they say. It only took like 2 days to get from Florida to me here in Arkansas, well, to Memphis. It took 2 days, and then it took almost 4 days for it to go from Memphis, which is a few hours for me, to my house. We ended up having to call the main part of the post office and find out what's going on, and apparently it's an issue they're having with the Memphis one in general, and unfortunately it's not the first time that that's happened to me with stuff going through Memphis and just staying there. I had one, I think it sat in Memphis for almost 3 weeks before it finally, I called the company. I'm like, look, I haven't received my thing yet. And they're like, they called up and found out where it was at. And then finally, it started moving. Okay, and there. As you can see, nice little coverage across everything. Clean out my brush real quick. Clean off my fingers real quick. Put these over here. Move this over here. Good thing about being a hobbyist is I always have a knife. So like I said, it's from Workfire. Let me see if I can move this up a little. Whoa, okay, we can't. Sorry about the ride, guys. It's a pretty good, I mean, it's not a huge box, but it's bright green. You would think that a box like this would be hard for them to lose. But they did, somehow, for 4 or 5 days. But let's go ahead and any bets on what we're gonna get? I'm not sure what exactly I want to see. I just am interested. I like this because it's the ability to get potentially a model that I don't have yet, that I wouldn't really plan on buying for myself normally. And I see a Ziploc bag. Bubble wrap. Looks like it's going to be, any guesses? Drukhari? Actually, it's Necron. I'm going to pull this bubble wrap out. So this would be for my eldest army. Looks like it's a squad of warriors. I don't know if he's here or not, but if he is, he could correct me, but I'm pretty sure those are just standard warriors. Much like a lot of their stuff, because it is, let me move y'all down. It is people's older models, or people's models, so they will come, most of the time they'll come painted up some way, shape, or form. 4, 8, squad of 10 Necrons. In good shape. I mean, the paint job isn't horrible, but I mean, I would whole lot better than just having gray plastic on the board if that's what you were looking for. And for a squad of 10 put together, they're a good staple for their for that army, so definitely have to have him come and snag them, put them in this thing. That's still wet. Kind of hoping it was going to be something that we didn't have yet, but At the same token, it's definitely something he plays with. He does have quite a few brain shut down for a minute there. He does have quite a few warriors, but he does play with them, and he does use them quite a bit. So, while we're waiting for that to dry a little bit more, because it's still really wet, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little coat on one of these crystals. And oddly enough, kind of interesting, these crystals, I was thinking about them for like Necron crystals for objective markers or something like that. So I'm going to be painting them a bright green. Might actually have to go with a couple coats on this. We'll see how they dry out. Don't really want to use too many coats because it's just terrain and I'm just doing my don't want to use my expensive paints on the terrain, but same token I do want it to look decent. Hopefully we can get that rock to dry out so we can go ahead and dry brush it. Because that's kind of where it's dry brush when you do it, and you're getting the edges. You can make it look real nice, but if you rush it, it's going to be all end up kind of mixing together mush, and you really don't want that. I'm just going to kind of get this all, man, if I can stop throwing it around and make it a whole lot better. And that looks pretty yellow on the camera, but trust me, it's a really bright green. I don't know why it's showing up as yellow. That's kind of weird. With these crystals, I'll probably end up finishing the actual crystals themselves. I'll finish them out with like a white edge highlight. Obviously I gotta do the stones and all that still on this one. The other one I gotta hit the bottom of it, but there's those. Let's see. Still pretty wet, but trying to. Normally, I would say just set it down and leave it alone. Not do what I'm doing, because I'm just kind of spreading out where it's sitting in the gaps. But I'm trying to get it spread out some and so it'll dry a little bit faster. Normally if you do this, especially on your models, don't do this. Daisy's sitting in the same spot he normally sits, up there by my paintbrushes. He tells me what brushes to grab. Alright. Now with dry brushing, obviously you want a dry brush. We're just going to dab a little bit on the edge. I don't have a dry brush palette. I have paper towels. You're not really supposed to use the paper towels because it sucks up the moisture. But, you know, if you don't do dry brushing all that much, it'll be fine. Unfortunately, yeah, as you can see, it's kind of just a mixing around because I am impatient, but that's fine because what I'm going to do instead is I'll just mix it in. But with dry brush, I'm trying to find that bottom right there looks pretty dry. You get most of the paint off. And then all you're doing is hitting the edges. You're not trying to hit heavy and brush the whole thing. You're just hitting the edges. There we go. Kind of wanted to show. And that kind of shows the wear and tear on the rock. And see, already looks a little better. Sometimes I'll go across with other colors on there. It's also, you know, a lot of sand and stuff is done pretty well that way. I've noticed terrain in general does pretty well with dry brushing to add details. Doesn't take much, but it really adds a lot. Everybody always wants to do the minis. They don't want to mess with it, so this way you get a whole lot of detail for not a whole lot of effort. But as you can see, just on that little bit I did right there, let's see if I can get this. Really kind of makes it stick out just by brushing the edges with the dry brush. I'm going to let this dry a little bit more. Go ahead and call that a day. As of right now, I do have this warp fire set up to come every 2 weeks. So hopefully in a couple weeks from now, we'll have another mystery box opening. Maybe I'll take my take Necrons off, so everyone else, the rest of my family maybe gets one. But yeah, that's what I got for y'all on again, the Necrons. And they don't look, like I said, whoever painted them, they don't look bad by any stretch. I don't know if my son's going to want to repaint them or just kind of leave them be and throw them in. He'll probably leave them be, to be honest, but I don't know. I'll go ask him here in a